Hi Year 7, this is Mrs. Hudson here talking you through your lesson today on Roman government. So our key question today is, was Rome ruled in a fair way? And your end task today, that will be uploaded to Teams, is to complete a writing task explaining whether the Roman Republic was fair or not. So a quick recap of where Rome is, just at the tip of the yellow arrow there, that city. It's not the whole of Italy, it's just a city. And it managed to take over all these areas here. Now, a new term for you is colony. So any country that is taken over by an empire, such as Britain, is a colony. So in a sentence that would be, Britain was a colony of the Roman Empire. So this is your first task here, and I'd like you to spend about 15 minutes researching on the internet. So I'd like you to pause the video in 1 second. So these are the ways, or this is some of the ways that our country is run, or how our government runs. What I would like you to do is take these 6 terms and I'd like you to make notes about what they mean. So go for the ones that you're the most unsure about. So I presume a lot of you might be starting with the cabinet or MPs and find out what they do and make brief notes about them. What we will do tomorrow at the start of our lesson is this sheet here, this slide here, will be up in our live portion, and we will be discussing what these different kind of terms mean. Therefore, make sure you have your notes with you. Make sure you are clear on what these different people do. So if you want to pause the video here for 15 minutes. Okay, so this is a kind of overview of how Rome was ruled because it changed over time. So in the early days, Rome was ruled by some kings, and we're going to look at that kind of section today. And we're going to look at how it moved into a republic. And it involved a group or a council called the Senate. Okay, so we're going to find out what the Senate were today, what their job was, what their role was. So first ruled by kings, the Senate's then brought in. Rome eventually turns into something called a republic, and that is what we're going to focus on investigating what that means today. Eventually, though, some of the army generals, you might have heard of Julius Caesar, started to get too powerful and threatened to take power away from the Senate, especially as they were too popular. Julius Caesar himself didn't ever manage this. He tried to do it, but eventually was stabbed in the back by the Senate. However, this did cause a second civil war in the country, and this meant that a man called Augustus became the first ever Roman emperor. So at that point, Rome changed from a republic to an empire, and we're going to look at some of the emperors and empires tomorrow. We're going to look at the empire and the emperors tomorrow. Some of them were good and some of them were very, very bad. There's some interesting stories with those. But today we're going to kind of focus on that idea of how Rome swapped from being ruled by a king to kind of being ruled by a senate. So this is your second task here, and I'd like this to be uploaded to Teams when you've finished it. This should take you about 10 minutes. I've given you a guided reading task before in school, so you should know what you're doing with this task here. For each paragraph, you need to give it a title, and then you need to summarise it in 2 to 3 bullet points. And this is all about how Rome turned from having a king to becoming a republic. Please note it says at the top that you should highlight any facts that you think are significant and circle any words that you do not know or understand. You should then use either a dictionary or the internet, because you can find definitions out quite easily using the internet, to find out what those words mean. Please do not just leave them. Okay, so find out what those tricky words mean. If you want to pause the video here for about 10 minutes before we move on. Okay, so this is an overview of how the Roman Republic was governed, and you had 2 types of citizens. You had patricians and plebeians. Okay, so different levels, which hopefully you've realised in the last task. There was then different parts or different groups who helped rule the government. You've got consuls, magistrates, the Senate, and the Citizens' Assembly. A little bit more information coming up about them shortly. But then you also had non-citizens, so women, the slaves, people in the provinces, so people in the other kind of areas of the Roman Empire, sort of thing, didn't always get the vote or a say on how Rome was ruled. So be really clear, if you're a woman at this time, it wasn't very good. You didn't have a say in how your country or your city was governed or ruled. So here's a little bit more information about some of those people we've just looked at. So the consuls, the magistrates, the tribunes, etc. So have a read through that first. There's a quick task here for you to do. Can you separate these up into things that were fair and unfair? So, for example, A, the people of Rome did not get a say in how the Republic was run, or did get a say, sorry, in how the Republic was run. That would be fair. So A would be fair. Work quickly through the other four. And then if you can, have a go at this extension task. What do you think is similar to our system of government? What do you think is different? I'd expect you to spend about 5 minutes on this page here. And on to our last task. Again, this needs to be uploaded to Teams. Using the information that you've gathered this lesson and the internet, if you need extra help, that's absolutely fine. Independent research is absolutely a great thing. I'd like you to complete this letter to a friend explaining how the Roman Republic works. Tell your friend whether you think it is fair or unfair. Okay, I will see you tomorrow for your lesson.